Good morning. This is Market Day Report. I'm Tony. Thanks for allowing us to start your week with you this morning. And we're up and trading. Hold on. When we get over to the livestock markets, this is going to be like riding a wild bull today. Holding on for 8 seconds may be very, very tough. But what about the corn market? Where do we start? Well, corn market is lower, and this after more positive news. Flash sales overnight, 225,000 metric tons to Mexico, and another 229,000 metric tons split between old and new crop, unknown destinations. Corn is lower, 4.15 1/4. It's down 3 3/4 cents. Soybean trade is also lower. Old crop down 10 cents. November down 9.5 at 10.11 1/2. We'll touch on soy meal contracts. They are lower across the board, and bean oil is lower as well, though we do see 56s from both August and September. Wheat market, well, it's lower as well, down 6, 5.32 1/4. Hard red is trading off 3.5 at 5.23. Spring wheat, you guessed it, is in the red except for the March contract. And then the cotton market is up 47, 68.70. Tommy Grisafi's with Nesvick Trading. And again, I guess we're starting the row crop series here the same way we ended last week, and kind of slow, right?
Yeah, we over the weekend we had both bullish news and bearish news, and they're kind of crisscrossing. We had that news out of Argentina, them lowering the export tax. We had bearish news. If you're out there and it didn't rain, raise your hand. But where I live, we went from a pocket of northern Indiana and northern Illinois that was in a pretty good drought, received 2.5, 3 inches, 4 or 5 locally in spots. So lots of storms last night. I was watching there's these young kids who live stream weather for hours and hours. Big shout out to Max Velocity. I was watching Max Velocity. Some big storms came through Watertown, South Dakota, and whatnot. Interesting how you can watch this weather and watch the markets. Now, in the bullish news, the Trump administration saying they got all these deals done, but that's not too good, Tony, to quote corn down 4 and beans down 9 on all these big deals, that being the EU. Just before we went live, a tweet came out saying that they're continuing to negotiate with China, but they still have to continue to tariff them. So we're not getting too far with China, and we're not getting anywhere with Russia. And with Russia, I see crude oil up $1.50. Pretty big move for crude. Put it down almost for a 3% move at one point. Crude oil, like when you start to see crude oil go up like this, it makes you want to buy a little corn. But maybe that's the old school commodity trader where one group of commodities goes up and you want to buy them all. Keep your eye on weather. They're talking about that with all this moisture, as these high winds pick up, could we blow over some of this corn? If that's your marketing plan, well, you have a problem. I would never wish for corn to get blown over, but I've seen it in the past, and it actually started a bull market. So very saturated ground that has continued winds could damage crops. It's nothing I have in my wish book. Back to you, my friend.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, trade and crude, the EU committing to purchasing $750 billion in U.S. energy over the next 3 years. One might think 250 million or billion every year, but doesn't say that. It says 750 billion. How they get to that will, I guess, be up to them. We'll take a quick break, come back, and we'll ride this wild, wild bull. In just a moment, Market Day Report continues after this. Cash cattle trade last week, 230 at the bottom end in the South, went as high as 233 on Friday afternoon. North started at 240, 240, 242, somewhere in that range. Bid up to 245 and had takers. So 233 tops in the South, 245 in the North. Where do we open the live cattle market? 227.75, $1.27 higher. And actually, we ran up to 228.85 on that August contract, but it pulled off of the highs. Expecting quite a bit of action today based upon the cash cattle trade and what we picked up from the cattle on feed report. Some major surprises there. Very bullish for the market. August 333.95, now 333.80, up 242, 334.50 on the September. By the way, we've already ran it up past $336 on that September contract for feeders. And then the hogs. Hogs are trying to catch their breath. August 108.27. It's lower. October lower. December, February, April higher. Tommy Grisafi, Nesvick Trading. What are you watching here?
No shortage of price action. Those ladders, I watch my tickets on ladders, and we had 3 live cattle tickets open before the open and 3 feeders, and they just marched them up the bid and ask. That's called the implied open. They freeze the tickets at 8:29 and 30 seconds, and then price is discovered, my friend, and that's exactly what we did. Whether it be, as Scotty says, down here in my mom's basement, or what people do all over the world. So everyone in the world had a chance to discover price here at 8:30, and we did that. We opened up, we went higher, we made new all-time highs across everything, and then now we're coming off. Is it the buy the rumor, sell the fact? I don't know. I know a lot of smart people who send in a lot of money every day to make margins. There's a lot of people who thought this would stop a long time ago, but it's not. Demand for beef is good. I did go to a friend's house this weekend, and we threw a lot of ribs on the grill, and I got to tell you, big difference between feeding 12 people with ribs and feeding 12 people with steak. But when we did have beef, it was more the hamburger type. We've toned down the fancy cuts of beef here, my friend, at least this weekend out on the lake. But big consumption of protein nonetheless. Where I was at my friend's house, they have a bunch of young kids, and they love to lift weights, and they track their protein on an app, and they try to get to 200 grams of protein. Tony, I'm going to let you in a little secret. When I was a kid, I wasn't tracking my protein. I was looking for someone to buy me a Stroh's 30-pack at Walgreens. So I don't know what life was like where you grew up, but we weren't tracking protein. Back to you, my friend.
Oh, I was tracking protein all the way. I was trying to gain weight as a defensive lineman and doing the raw egg shakes, and it didn't work until years later, and then I got all of it at one time. But anyway, Tommy Grisafi's with Nesvick Trading.